Keep the crown, mister, if you turn all those empty boxes you own into a castle big enough for every kid here, and you have to play in it too. One fragile crown, one impossible trade, and a mountain of discarded cartons are about to topple the walls, separating cardboard dreams from corporate towers. The cold March wind blew cigarette wrappers across the cracked asphalt of Midtown Station. But inside Shelter 117, the air smelled mostly of dish soap and determination. 7-year-old Maya Lin, crouched by the donation bin, snipping scalloped edges into a sheet of shipping box cardboard. The improvised crown already sported bottle cap gems and a purple crayon insignia, a crooked heart with 2 stick figures inside. Tonight was imagination night, and every kid was supposed to bring one invented object to the communal circle. Maya refused to show up empty-handed, even if all she had was yesterday's Amazon packaging, while she worked. Volunteers rushed trays of mac and cheese past the folding tables. The shelter's industrial lights flickered, storm incoming. The staff warned, but Maya barely noticed. She glued the last jewel, a flattened soda tab, and whispered her secret plan. Find someone who still believes in castles. 4 blocks north, on the 48th floor of the Fee Vanguard Spire. Tech magnate Oliver Crane scrolled through another soul-numbing calendar invite. At 36, he'd bootstrapped Cloudcraft, a logistics software empire that moved the world's boxes faster than anyone else. Yet the one box that mattered tonight, the birthday present for his 8-year-old daughter. Emma sat unopened on the conference table. An imported dollhouse the size of a subcompact car, shipped in panels of Baltic birch, professionally assembled downstairs. All Emma had said by video call was, "It's nice. Daddy, thanks. Nice." Like a polite yawn, Emma lived with her mother on the opposite coast. Since the divorce, she'd visited Oliver twice, each time leaving his penthouse playroom untouched, choosing instead to sit by the floor-to-ceiling windows, tracing finger hearts in the condensation and asking about the shapes of clouds. Tonight, rain hammered the glass, and Emma's flight had been canceled. Oliver stared at the silent dollhouse and felt an unbidden ache. He closed the laptop, shrugged into a hoodie worth more than an average month's rent, and descended to the parking garage. No entourage, no chauffeur, just the need to walk city streets until anxiety quieted. The storm was in full snarl when Oliver spotted Shelter 117's neon sign flicker. Something maybe the sight of an overflowing dumpster of flattened shipping cartons pulled him toward the side entrance. Cardboard, the raw currency of his empire, piled knee-high against the wall. Inside, the imagination circle was underway. Kids held up paper towel roll telescopes, duct tape dragons, sock puppet detectives. Maya, last in line, stepped forward wearing her cardboard crown. The rain outside drummed like an expectant audience. "I proclaim this a kingdom," she declared, voice wobbly but loud. "A cardboard kingdom where everyone gets to play, even grown-ups who forgot how." The volunteers clapped, but Maya's eyes caught a shadow lurking near the exit, a man in a drenched hoodie, designer sneakers incongruous against the scuffed linoleum. Oliver offered a tentative smile. No cameras here, no board members to impress, just cardboard dreams on display. Something inside him tugged. After circle time, Maya slipped through the hallway, crown slipping over her ears. She almost collided with the stranger holding a takeaway cup of shelter coffee. "Cool crown," Oliver said, realizing how silly the phrase sounded leaving a billionaire's mouth. "Thanks. It's not for me, though." Maya straightened the cardboard points. "It's for someone who needs to remember fun." She eyed his soaked hoodie. "You look like you forgot." Oliver blinked. No corporate pitch had ever struck him that directly. "Maybe I did." Maya reached up, placed the crown on his head. "Then it's yours, but you gotta trade, like fairy tale rules." "What's the price for a kingdom?" he asked, half smiling. She pointed to the dumpster outside. "Build us a castle. Out of those. Big enough for everyone." Those boxes, stamped with the blue Cloudcraft logo, had traveled the globe to deliver gadgets, gowns, gourmet coffee, and landed here, 1 block from headquarters. Oliver glanced at the dripping cardboard tower and felt the absurdity click into something resembling destiny. "I build you a castle," he said slowly, "and you give me the crown, and you have to play in it." Maya added, "Kings play too." He extended a rain-cold pinky. She linked hers with utmost seriousness. That night, Oliver returned to the spire, bypassed the dollhouse, and summoned his VP of operations on a 3 a.m. call. "I need a warehouse of rejected cartons, diverted to Midtown by sunrise." "Yes." "The ones slated for recycling." The VP muttered about carbon footprint dashboards. Oliver responded, "Mark it as an R&D pilot in community engagement." By dawn, forklifts were unloading pallets of pristine but misprinted boxes behind Shelter 1 or 17. Maya watched from the doorway, eyes enormous. Volunteers gawked. City inspectors raised eyebrows. Oliver arrived in jeans and work gloves. No PR crew. Only Emma on video chat tucked into his breast pocket. "Daddy." "What's all that?" she asked. "A castle," he said. "Want to help design the towers." Emma giggled through the phone. "Make sure there's a cloud room." The build began. Kids formed teams: cutters, tape wranglers, decor squad. Maya directed like a pint-size architect, instructing where turrets should stand, how arrow slits became window hearts. Oliver, sweating under plastic tarps, folded and taped, rediscovering the simple geometry of joy. Passers-by joined, bringing paint, fabric scraps, LED string lights. Local news vans circled, but were politely asked to donate duct tape or leave. By dusk, a labyrinthine cardboard palace filled the shelter lot drawbridge. Secret slides, skylight cutouts framing the emerging stars. Oliver, knees dusty and palms blistered, stood beside Maya at the highest turret, a shipping pallet balcony. She straightened his still damp crown. "Not bad. King Cloud," he laughed, something unclenching in his chest. "First castle I ever built with my own hands. First, but not last," she said. "Tomorrow the kingdom opens to everyone." Oliver's phone buzzed Emma's bedtime call. He flipped the camera to show the glowing palace. Emma gasped, cheeks pressed to screen. "That's better than any dollhouse." Then quietly, "Can we build one when I visit?" "Promise," he whispered. As volunteers ushered kids inside for cocoa, Maya tugged Oliver's sleeve. "Remember the rule kings play." He knelt, crawled through the drawbridge tunnel, and found himself in a courtyard alive with flashlight fireflies and laughing echoes. Cardboard walls smelled of rain and hope. For a moment, he felt lighter than any cloud a drone had ever tracked. Outside, the storm clouds parted, revealing a shy moon. The cardboard kingdom, fragile yet fierce, stood shimmering under streetlights, defying drizzle and the logic of grown-ups. And somewhere between the corrugated towers, a lonely tycoon began mapping a future where every discarded box might open into possibility. Morning light hit the cardboard palace like a spotlight, turning shipping labels into patchwork-stained glass. The drawbridge 2 appliance cartons lashed with neon paracord creaked open at 8 sharp, revealing barefoot kids in mismatched pajamas ready to defend their realm. Maya Lin, wearing a new duct tape sash that read Chief Architect, brandished a rolled-up blueprint. Oliver Crane, nursing muscles he hadn't used since college, arrived with cereal boxes repurposed as roof tiles, phone already chiming with trouble. First alert, a push notification from Bayview City, zoning unpermitted structure detected at Shelter 117. Second, a terse email from Cloudcraft's legal counsel asking why a fleet of misprinted inventory had bypassed normal waste stream paperwork. Third, a viral TikTok of the cardboard castle captioned "Billionaire builds homeless kids Hogwarts out of trash PR stunt. 3 million views overnight." Oliver swallowed hard but waved to the kids. "King Cloud reporting for play duty." They answered with a roar, dragging him to inspect the new throne room. 2 stacked refrigerator cartons sprayed cobalt with leftover graffiti paint. Overhead, someone had taped glow-in-the-dark stars. Maya slipped beside him, whispering, "Today we add secret tunnels. Got any more boxes? Plenty, Oliver said, though law firms, city inspectors, and skeptical reporters might disagree. As if summoned, Inspector Dolores Kim strode up the alley flanked by two fire safety officers. Hard hat, clipboard, expression like someone who'd never been offered a crayon. Oliver stepped forward, cardboard crown tucked under one arm. Mr. Crane, she began without preamble, eyes tracing the turret line. This installation violates load-bearing, egress, and flame-retardant codes. Maya materialized at Oliver's side. It's not an installation, it's a kingdom. Kim's eyebrow twitched. Kingdoms still need permits. She handed Oliver a bright orange notice. Temporary structure violation, 72 hours to dismantle or face fines. Kids clustered behind Maya, whispers swelling. They're tearing it down. Maya's chin rose. You can't find cardboard dreams. Oliver knelt to her level. We'll figure this out. Kim cleared her throat. Cardboard is flammable. One spark. These children. She stopped, scanning their faces. A flicker of empathy softened her tone. Look, sir, I admire the gesture, but safety first. She left the citation taped to the drawbridge. Oliver exhaled, brain racing through supply chain spreadsheets and municipal loopholes. Cardboard high ignite point but low flame spread when treated. Cloudcraft packaging labs use non-toxic fire retardant on certain cartons. Maybe, yes. Field trip, he announced. Cardboard Kingdom is getting armor. 2 hours later, a convoy of Cloudcraft vans rolled down Hawthorne carrying matte white cartons stamped Class A Fire Shield reject batches due to printing errors. Volunteers in reflective vests stacked them against the old walls. Kids painted new murals while Oliver's operations team sprayed citrus-scented flame retardant under Dolores Kim's wary supervision. A retired firefighter from the shelter demonstrated bucket brigade drills. The castle gained water barrels at each corner tower. Safety boxes ticked. The inspector grudgingly replaced the orange violation with a yellow conditional pass, valid 1 month pending formal application. But the internet's curiosity couldn't be so easily placated. Reporters camped at the alley mouth. One shouted, Mr. Crane, is this a stunt to distract from Cloudcraft's carbon footprint audit? Before he could answer, Maya stepped forward in her duct tape sash. He's not distracting, he's building. And we're helping. Cameras swiveled. She planted cardboard-smudged hands on her hips. If grown-ups spent less time talking and more time taping, maybe every kid would have a place to imagine. The clip rocketed across social feeds within the hour. Supportive comments poured in, followed by corporate account cynicism, hashtags split into Dasker Cardboard Kingdom love, and luxury landfill spin. Cloudcraft's board scheduled an emergency video call. Oliver took it inside the throne room. Laptops balanced on milk crates. The directors' faces tiled across the screen, some amused, most alarmed. Oliver, began Chairwoman Sato. Investors worry you're diverting resources. Trucks meant for warehouse clients were rerouted to a shelter. They were excess inventory. Oliver replied, We write them off anyway. A CFO frowned. Not with overnight trucking premiums. Oliver inhaled. A year ago he'd have recited cost-benefit tables. Now he pictured Maya's crown, Emma's face shimmering on his phone. The way kids' laughter echoed in corrugated hallways. I started this company to move boxes, he said evenly. Turns out the most valuable journey a box can make is from waste to wonder, if that scares investors. They can divest. Silence. Then Sato spoke. 2 weeks. Demonstrate positive brand equity and 0 safety incidents. After that, the board votes on budget extension. Deal, Oliver said and ended the call before doubt crawled in. By day 3, the castle featured solar panel shingles donated by a green tech neighbor and an interior cloud room inspired by Emma's request, cotton batting cumulonimbus hung from string lights, LED strips cycling pastel dawns and neon sunsets. Emma, still West Coast grounded by storms, Video toured classmates' cardboard kingdom trending among fourth graders. But stress lines etched deeper around Oliver's eyes. Volunteers counted 9 major repairs after each rain burst. Flame spray canisters ran low, local teens tagged fresh graffiti overnight. He found Maya patching a torn turret seam with silver tape. "Castle's tired," she admitted. "Cardboard isn't forever," he said gently. "Dreams can be." She tapped the seam like a heartbeat. "We just need stronger walls." That night, Oliver sketched with packaging engineers laminated honeycomb panels light, sturdy, foldable. Prototype machines existed in Cloudcraft R&D. He pulled emergency strings. At dawn, pallets arrived honeycomb cardboard coated in waterproof resin. Pre-cut with interlocking tabs, kids could snap together like Lego. Construction got faster, towers taller, walls smoother. Dolores Kim returned, this time bringing a fire marshal photographer. She measured, inspected, even slid down the secret tunnel at Maya's dare, emerging dusty but smiling. "Submit these build specs," she told Oliver, "and I'll back your permit." Meanwhile, Emma finally landed. She raced from taxi to castle entrance. Father waiting in modified crown, now reinforced with flameproof coating and a sticker that read, "Cloudcraft Prototype Daughter 1001. Emma squealed at the cloud room. Added cotton hearts labeled "Dad plus me." Reporters captured the reunion billionaire father crawling through cardboard crawl spaces with own daughter. Hashtag sentiment swung. Board analytics pinged 40% brand favorability jump. Chairwoman Sato sent a one-line email, "Keep building." Late Sunday, Maya led a twilight parade. Every child in shelter armor painted a box into a wearable night suit. Marching through the alley behind a neon-striped forklift carrying the cardboard throne. Oliver and Emma rode side by side, tossing foil-wrapped chocolate coins to neighbors who lined sidewalks cheering. Drone footage by a local student filmmaker showed something Bayview hadn't seen in years. Joy rolling through neglected streets like a victory lap. As the parade wound back to Shelter 117, Maya climbed the tallest tower and unfurled a banner painted in 8 languages. "If it fits, we play." The slogan Oliver realized mirrored the old parcel motto, "If it fits, it ships," flipped into a manifesto. He stood beneath the banner, cardboard crown warm against his head, Emma's small hand in his. Maya called down, "King Cloud, what's next?" He looked at the honeycomb walls, at kids reclaiming boxes destined for landfills, at volunteers welding community out of tape. Today, a castle. He called back, "Tomorrow every shipping crate in this city is fair game." Cheers erupted. The board's 2-week deadline no longer mattered. The kingdom had outgrown it. Cardboard might bow to rain. But the architecture of wonder, mass-produced yet hand-assembled, had just breached municipal code, corporate ROI, and, most critically, Oliver's own limitations. Above them, the banner danced in storm-cleansed wind, promising more turrets, tunnels, and cloud rooms wherever boxes piled high and kids needed somewhere to imagine. Cardboard would bend, dreams would scaffold stronger every time. Rain hammered Bayview all night, and by dawn, cardboard battlements sagged under 20 pounds of water. Volunteers hustled up ladders with tarps. But every fresh patch sprouted 2 new leaks. Even the honeycomb panels, tougher than pizza boxes, yet still paper curled at the seams. Maya Lin poked her head from a turret and announced that their kingdom had caught the soggy pox. Inside the shelter lobby, Oliver Crane rubbed a knot at the base of his skull while Inspector Dolores Kim scrolled through photo evidence on her tablet. "Your structure remains technically compliant," she said, voice softening at Maya's dejected silhouette. "But if you keep expanding, the next storm will shred half of it. You need real load-bearing framing or a different material." Oliver's phone vibrated a calendar ping from Cloudcraft HQ, reminding him that quarterly forecasts were due in 48 hours. He swiped it aside. "What's the fastest way to pass permanent code steel studs? Fire-rated panels, or modular plywood, the same requirements as a pop-up market?" Kim replied, "But that takes permits, engineers, and tens of thousands of dollars. Tens of thousands pennies in Cloudcraft's ledger. Yet Oliver hesitated. If he poured corporate cash straight into the castle, critics would scream white knight greenwashing and the board might tighten its leash again. Cardboard Kingdom had to outgrow charity and prove self-propelled. He gazed across the lobby at rows of flattened boxes earmarked for art projects. Among the logos, he spotted a shipment label from Haven Housing Co-op, a startup social enterprise building tiny homes out of interlocking plywood panels. He'd invested in their seed round and promptly forgotten them. A possibility clicked. "Dolores," he asked, "if I can get structural plywood cut to our existing castle footprint, can we fast-track approval under shelter expansion rules? I can greenlight a pilot," she said. "If your volunteers handle assembly and the fire marshal signs off on coatings." Maya approached, clutching a waterlogged cardboard heart. "King Cloud," she said solemnly. "The walls are crying." Oliver knelt. "Then we give them a skeleton that never cries." Emma, still on school break, tugged her dad's sleeve. "Real walls won't be as fun if they look like boring wood." "Not if we paint them," Maya argued, spark returning to her eyes. "Wood can be a canvas." Emma nodded enthusiastically. "And the inside can stay cardboard, a hybrid kingdom, a plywood spine wrapped in paper dreams." Oliver flashed a grin. "Let's draft blueprints." Thursa. 3 hours later, a convoy of flatbed trucks arrived from Haven Housing's warehouse. Loaded with CNC-cut plywood panels and galvanized connectors, Haven's founder, Juno Martinez, hopped down wearing a hard hat plastered with protest stickers. She eyed Oliver in his duct-tape crown. "Didn't picture meeting one of my investors inside a damp fort." "Welcome to the front line of imagination," he said, shaking her gloved hand. Juno inspected the sagging cardboard towers, kid-scale structures, no plumbing, single story. "This is easier than a tiny home. We can bolt frames in 2 days if you've got bodies." Bodies they had. Shelter residents, neighborhood teens. Even a few cloud software engineers on corporate volunteer leave grabbed impact drivers and socket sets. Oliver assigned Emma and Maya to Decor Command. Every plywood sheet leaving the priming station got a splash of chalk lines for future murals. But progress triggered fresh scrutiny. A trio of city council hopefuls arrived with photo ops in mind, smiling wide for cameras, while whisper arguing over who first supported community pop-ups. Maya watched them pose beneath a half-framed archway and whispered to Emma. "They treat it like a backdrop." Emma frowned. "A castle is for playing, not bragging." When one council member attempted to staple a campaign flyer to the plywood, Maya stepped forward. "No ads on kingdom walls." The politician chuckled condescendingly until 20 kids lined up behind Maya, cardboard armor rustling. The flyer came down. News outlets loved the standoff. Overnight, chalk cardboard guardians trended above celebrity gossip. Supportive strangers dropped off paint, snacks, even a battery-powered jigsaw. Skeptics tweeted the usual build homes, not castles rebuttal. Juno Martinez posted schematic diagrams showing future tiny home add-ons to prove the kingdom was both play space and proof of concept for low-cost community housing. The thread went viral. Donations spiked. By the second night, the plywood skeleton stood roof-high. Sealed in a plant-based fire retardant, volunteers slid the original honeycomb panels into interior slots, sandwiching them like insulation. Kids squealed at the discovery of secret crawlways between outer and inner walls. Inspector Kim signed the interim occupancy letter. Stamping it with a grin, she tried but failed to hide. Oliver finally exhaled, then inhaled sharply as his phone flashed a red banner, Cloudcraft server outage fulfillment grid offline in 4 regions. He ducked into the newly christened Strategy Keep, a plywood shed with Wi-Fi, and connected to the crisis call. Engineers rattled off probabilities, a routing glitch in the auto-scaling algorithm he'd personally authored years ago. He could fix it from here. Laptop balanced on a paint-splattered crate if given 90 minutes. The board would forgive his cardboard crusade if he saved peak season shipments. Maya poked her head in. "Trouble big kid computer stuff," he said, fingers flying over code. She watched silent for a moment, Remember Rule 2 King's Play. Right after I stop half the city's packages from disappearing? Maya considered, then placed her soggy cardboard heart on his keyboard. A real kingdom helps outside people. 2. This counts. Oliver's shoulders eased. He realized this crisis wasn't pulling him away from the castle. Solving it was service to the same mission moving boxes where they were needed. Within an hour, the grid stabilized. Network dashboards flashed green. Oliver lifted the cardboard heart and typed a commit message, patch named Cardboard Kingdom V1 saves the day. Engineering channel emojis exploded. He rejoined volunteers just as they prepped the castle's new drawbridge, a reinforced ramp wide enough for wheelchairs. Emma rolled a spare office chair through, pretending it was a racing throne. Juno clocked the accessibility feature and high-fived Maya. Every kingdom needs inclusive gates, she said. Some grand opening loomed. Kids practiced cardboard sword choreography. Shelter cooks perfected cocoa cauldrons. Yet Maya found Oliver alone under a work light, inspecting a hairline crack in one plywood beam. Worried the walls will cry again, she asked. Worried I will? He admitted he hadn't felt this invested in anything since founding Cloudcraft. What if tomorrow some bigger storm comes, headlines change, donations fade? Maya touched the beam. Cardboard bends, wood stands, people stay if you keep playing. She extended a marker. Touch up the crown before reporters arrive. Oliver traced fresh gold lines on the duct-tape tiara. Long live cardboard dreams, he whispered. Outside. The castle glowed beneath floodlights, half plywood, half corrugate, all heart. Its silhouette no longer looked temporary. It looked defiant, ready to weather corporate mood swings, city bylaws, and climate tantrums. Kids wove between the towers like living confetti. Volunteers strung more solar fairy lights. In that moment, Oliver realized the castle no longer needed him as king. It needed him as caretaker of an idea that empty boxes could become walls that don't fold, and that grown-ups could choose to build wonder sturdy enough to shelter a storm. Tomorrow, the city would file another wave of questions. Investors would debate ESG impact. But tonight, in the rhythmic hammering of final nails and the laughter echoing off plywood buttresses, the kingdom felt undefeatable cardboard soul, wooden spine, human heartbeat. The castle's grand opening banners were still fluttering when Cloudcraft's board summoned Oliver Crane to an emergency session at headquarters. The plywood turrets were sturdy now, but Oliver's stomach felt like corrugated cardboard as he left Shelter 117 and walked 3 blocks north to the mirrored tower where elevator brass gleamed sterile and silent. Inside the 12th floor conference room, Chairwoman Sato projected a slide titled Operational Deviations, Q4. Beneath it, legal fees for accelerated permits, transport costs for plywood pilots, and a red arrow pointing to a dip in fulfillment margins. Your kingdom, she began, voice even as a laser level, has goodwill value, but investors want numbers, not fairy tales. Oliver kept his duct tape crown tucked in his bag, but the weight of it felt heavier than his laptop. The goodwill is converting, he argued. Our brand sentiment is up 40 points. Carrier partnerships want in on these pop-up builds. He handed out packets detailing a proposed box-to-build subscription for every 10 packages shipped. Cloudcraft would divert 1 misprint carton to community playspace materials. CFO Rains flipped pages, brow furrowing at the forecast. Generous, but ROI. We need proof of sustained revenue, not just clicks. Chairwoman Sato raised a motion-freeze discretionary funds for Cardboard Kingdom pending a simple majority vote. 6 directors. Oliver needed 4. He spoke through dry lips. Tomorrow's public launch will bring city officials, potential corporate sponsors, and Haven Housing Co-op partners. Give me 48 hours. Deliberation felt like tire smoke, thick, acrid, obscuring. Finally, Sato announced a compromise conditional grace period 48 hours and an independent auditor's footfall study to prove the kingdom served more than shelter kids. Oliver exhaled, grabbed his bag, and nearly sprinted back to Hawthorne District. La Sureau's at the castle gate. Inspector Dolores Kim stood beside a newly installed digital turnstile, Haven Housing's portable foot traffic sensor. "Audit starts now," she said, clicking her tablet. "Every visitor counts." Neighborhood families flowed in toddlers toddling over padded ramps, teens testing skateboard drop-ins on the plywood half-pipe, seniors sipping cocoa under solar-lit pergolas. Emma and Maya zipped past wearing fresh cardboard armor that read, "Tour Guides." They shepherded a line of reporters through the cloud room, explaining how cotton clouds doubled as acoustics dampeners. Mid-afternoon. A sleek black town car rolled up. Out stepped Councilmember Lydia Shaw, whose campaign flyer Maya had vetoed. She now carried a polished plaque Bayview Civic Innovation Award, finalist. Politicians loved reformed narratives. Shaw smelled history in the making. She posed for cameras beneath the archway, offering Oliver a handshake. "City budget talks next week," she said. "Imagine a fleet of these micro-play spaces in vacant lots." Her aide discreetly mentioned naming rights. Oliver counteroffered zero naming rights. But Cloudcraft would provide low-cost logistics if the city funded Haven Housing panels. Shaw mulled, impressed, as evening neared. Foot traffic counters ticked past 800 quadruple shelter capacity. Auditor's smile crept wider. Board data would look golden. Then the sirens hit. An old transformer 2 blocks over exploded, plunging Hawthorne District into darkness. Solar strings flickered, battery backups groaned, and the castle's LED cloud ceiling winked out. Kids squealed the fun kind at first, then the anxious kind. Someone tripped on stairs. Plywood echoed a dull thud. Oliver's chest tightened, but Maya's earlier words echoed King's play. He snapped on a headlamp. "Flashlight treasure hunt," he shouted, Emma repeated, handing spare torches around. Volunteer fire marshals corralled children into courtyard-safe squares. In minutes, the castle glowed again, but now by flashlight constellations, painting plywood walls with stardust. City emergency management rolled up to inspect, finding calm. They radioed an all clear, but the outage cut turnstile power. The auditor frowned. After dark. Manual counts won't satisfy board lawyers. Dolores Kim suggested rerouting portable generator cables from the shelter's kitchen, as Oliver sprinted for extension cords. His phone buzzed CFO Rains demanding real-time audit figures. Oliver's battery at 12%. He needed the castle lit and logged before numbers froze. Back at the shelter, he yanked a heavy spool of cable. Halfway to the castle, he slipped rain-slick pavement, pitching him forward. He caught himself on a dumpster edge. Duct tape crown tumbled out of his bag and skidded into gutter sludge. He stared at the soggy cardboard, his symbolic link to kids, to courage, and almost laughed at the absurd fragility. Then he scooped it up, shook off muck, and jammed it on his head. The generator roared to life. Light surged back across turrets. Foot traffic sensor rebooted with a chirp. The auditor clapped. Midnight counts tallied 1307 visitors. Next morning, the board sat around the same 12th floor table. Waiting. Oliver, still sporting a faint grease streak on his cheek. Patched screens into live metrics, foot traffic totals. Social media impressions. A heat map showing reduced vandalism reports within 4 blocks since castle opening kids were playing. Not tagging. Chairwoman Sato folded her arms. Impressive. But sustainability before Oliver could answer. Juno Martinez appeared via video call holding a scale model plywood cardboard hybrid tiny home pod. Haven Housing had received deposit pledges from families who toured the castle. Maya's blueprint for a reading nook became a shelving bay. Emma's slide plan doubled as a wheelchair ramp. Boxes to homes. Wonder to equity pipeline drawn. Rains asked for ROI again. Oliver quoted preliminary licensing deals, local craft beer company printing limited edition 6-pack carriers featuring kids' art. Proceeds funding more panels. Cloudcraft would handle logistics for a standard handling fee, profit plus purpose. Sato scanned the room, hands raised in favor of continuing the pilot. 5 out of 6. Rains abstaining. Motion carried. As relief washed over Oliver, Sato added, condition within 6 months. Replicate in 3 additional neighborhoods, including 1 outside our shipping grid. Demonstrate scalability. Oliver smiled. Cardboard kingdoms love new lands. That evening, Maya perched atop the gate tower, surveying the kingdom at dusk. Oliver climbed the ladder, fresh plywood crown in hand, Haven's laser cutter etched with a tiny cloud emblem, and MKI. Real wood this time, he said, switching crowns with her soggy original. Maya shook her head. Cardboard's lighter. Keep it. Remember where we started? He tucked the repaired duct tape crown under his arm, eyes stinging. Below, Emma and Juno plotted balcony gardens using upcycled juice cartons. Councilmember Shaw transmitted city budget amendments. Reporter drones buzzed, capturing aerial shots of rainbow plywood and living murals shining in fresh floodlights powered by rooftop solar. The cardboard soul remained the cloud room, still lined with corrugate. Secret tunnels still rustling, but beneath it lay a skeleton no storm could cancel. And behind it, a board of executives who finally saw value in imagination as infrastructure. Oliver turned to Maya, new rule for the kingdom. She pondered, then grinned. Dream walls bigger than storm clouds. Far below, volunteer trumpets signaled cocoa time. Lights poured warm through arrow-slit hearts as the plywood cardboard fortress hummed with laughter, brittle enough to flex, strong enough to stand. Fueled by the simple bargain, struck on a rainy night, 1 crown for 1 promise to keep playing, no matter how grown up the game became. Cloudcraft's prototype flatbeds rolled out at dawn, each stacked with numbered pallets of plywood panels, honeycomb inserts, and shrink-wrapped bundles of misprinted cartons ready for repaint. 3 new districts: Harbor Point, Arroyo Vista, and, in a bold leap outside Bayview, the hurricane-scarred town of Huxley Beach were about to receive their own cardboard kingdoms. Oliver Crane watched the convoy snake down the expressway, a mix of pride and nerves fluttering harder than the pennants Maya had taped to the lead truck. The expansion plan looked tight on paper. Local nonprofits would supply volunteers. Haven Housing would send 2 site leads per build, and Cloudcraft's logistics grid would donate last-mile routing. But paper didn't account for neighborhood turf wars, shipping delays, or the ocean salt humidity that warped plywood overnight. Oliver kept these worries to himself at the flagship castle. Kids were busy mapping adventures on a giant mural that doubled as a rollout tracker, each new site marked by a cardboard gear that clicked into a painted chain across the city skyline. Maya Lin. Now sporting an upgraded badge, Chief Royal Cartographer added the first gear for Harbor Point. Emma Crane, back for another weekend with her dad. Annotated weather icons beside each locale. A thundercloud hovered over Huxley Beach. Mid-morning, Council member Lydia Shaw strode through the courtyard flanked by city budget aides. She wore a hard hat stickered with the castle logo, but her eyes held a storm of numbers. City funds unlocked, she said, but 2 stipulations: use union carpenters at each new site and finish builds before fiscal close 90 days. Juno Martinez did the math aloud. That doubles labor cost and halves our timeline. Negotiable, Oliver asked. Shaw's look said no. Deliver, and use cement repeat funding. Fail, and the castle brand flips from fairy tale to money pit. Oliver glanced at Maya perched on a scaffold, drawing a cardboard spaceship. He squared his shoulders. We'll deliver. Harbor Point Build Week felt like a speed-run donated warehouse space. Pallets unloaded. Union carpenters puzzled by kids acting as junior foremen. Maya insisted on arrow-slit windows shaped like musical notes because a community jazz program shared the lot. Carpenters grumbled at design changes, but gradually warmed, swapping shop talk with Maya about blade angles and screw sizes. Then, Arroyo Vista hit a hillside lot, notorious for rival graffiti crews. On day one, a splinter faction tagged "No Plastic Dreams" across the half-finished drawbridge. Volunteers panicked, reporters sniffed scandal. Maya suggested inviting the crew to paint legally, offering a tower wall as blank canvas under one condition: no hate symbols. Juno negotiated. Oliver provided paint. The crew arrived masked and suspicious, then stayed 6 hours, trading spray tips with shelter kids, ending the day signing their mural. "Real dreams stand." The local blog hailed it as a detente. But the real test loomed at Huxley Beach, where a tropical storm 2 seasons earlier had left boardwalks splintered and FEMA trailers fading under salt wind. Cloudcraft's supply trucks crossed the causeway just as a nor'easter alert flashed gale warnings. Coastal flooding. Oliver's leads advised delay. City Hall suggested staging in an inland lot instead. But the town's kids met them at the ruined bandstand carrying homemade cardboard cutlasses. "The storm's just rain." One girl said. "We're tired of waiting for dry." Oliver thought of soggy cardboard hearts. The build commenced. Salt air bent plywood edges. Every screw squeaked with corrosion. Volunteers labored knee-deep in sand. Each night canvas tarps flapped like sails. Each dawn, half the gains looked erased. The union crew threatened to pull out if hazard pay wasn't approved. Oliver spent the week sleeping in a converted shipping container office, fielding video calls to triage Cloudcraft's quarterly forecast after hours. Data charts blurred. His inbox stacked with passive-aggressive reminders from CFO Rains. Emma, on nightly calls, asked when Dad would be home. Oliver promised soon. Voice hoarse. On day 5, gale force gusts snapped 2 tower frames. Juno's cost spreadsheets crumbled. Maya, flown in with Emma for the weekend, surveyed the wreckage and tightened her duct tape utility belt. "We need a new plan," she declared. "Kingdoms at the beach need anchors." That sparked an idea: literally use the massive storm-discarded rebar littering the boardwalk pilings. Volunteers hauled rusted rods. Union welders cut and drove them into sand. The plywood skeleton bolted onto a steel spine. Haven engineers ran quick salt spray tests. Passable. While crews toiled, Maya and Emma fashioned cardboard seashell ornaments, stringing them on fishing line to dangle from rafters. Local fishermen donated LED buoys, transforming the courtyard into a night-glowing tide pool. Kids wandered wide-eyed through the skeletal walls while thunder rolled offshore. Reporters returned, expecting a soggy failure, but captured shots of welders' sparks against tempestuous clouds. Social feeds ate it up, Castle Forged and Storm trended regionally. Foot traffic counters logged 200 residents on the preview day, many still living in trailers. At week's end, with gusts dying and moonlight silvering the surf, Oliver stood beneath the finished drawbridge, salt-washed, sleep-deprived. He carried the original soggy cardboard crown in his backpack, a reminder. Inspector Kim arrived, clipboard shielded by a plastic bag, and walked the perimeter. She pressed her stamp with a satisfying thunk. Conditional pass, hurricane zone variance granted. Cheers erupted, half drowned by ocean roar. Emma ran to her dad, eyes bright. "Cloud Room 2, she asked. "Cloud Room 2, he promised. The Beach Village Council declared the plywood fortress a permanent disaster relief play hub. An insurance company offered to underwrite low premiums if Cloudcraft fitted early warning sensors. CFO Rains couldn't argue with the press release. Brand buoyancy up. Local resilience praised. Back at Bayview flagship a month later, the dashboard mural now sprawled across 2 walls, gears clicking from neighborhood to neighborhood. Foot traffic totals across 3 sites topped 15,000 in 30 days. Chairwoman Sato visited the flagship, maple leaf latte in hand, and walked the cloud room, where Maya and Emma demonstrated a new augmented reality star map projected on cotton clouds. Sato turned to Oliver. Audit team reports positive ROI. Council funds renewed. Investor concern muted. She extended a small wooden plaque engraved with Cloudcraft's logo, interwoven with cardboard crowns. The board approved a separate division, Imagination Logistics, run it profitably. But your way, Oliver felt the weight lift a different crown entirely. That evening, at the Beach Castle's digital ribbon cutting, Maya announced via livestream a new decree: every kingdom must build one smaller satellite fort out of pure cardboard and duct tape. No plywood, no corporate logos, just for unstructured play. Oliver lifted the duct tape crown she returned to him and wore it for the cameras. Proud. "Long live cardboard," he said, "because cardboard teaches us that even temporary walls can spark permanent hope." The aurora of LED boys flickered behind him. Storms calmed. And in 3 kingdoms across 2 cities, kids raced through corridors of salvation, born from boxes once bound for dumpsters. Proof, at last count, that shipping isn't just moving things, it can move hearts. 2. The interkingdom caravan was supposed to be a modest pilot, 3 box trucks of modular panels traveling 220 miles north to sister city Alderfield, swapping castle walls with a community after-school program. But a single TikTok, Maya and Emma high-fiving through a hinged graffiti panel, hit 12 million views in 48 hours, and suddenly requests poured in from Vancouver, Tijuana, even Reykjavik. Oliver Crane woke to an inbox jammed with emojis and acronyms from international NGOs. Haven Housing's Slack thread bleeped nonstop, which customs codes cover play structures. His logistics VP explained that plywood counted as unfinished lumber, while coated corrugate registered as commercial printing byproduct. 2 different tariffs, 1 mission. Oliver poured extra strong cocoa, already picturing border agents scratching their heads at a 40-foot container labeled Magical Walls, Handle with Wonder, Passport Panels Maya, ever the cartographer. Solve the naming first. She sketched a passport-size booklet titled Panel Passport. Each wooden section would get a sticker stamped whenever it crossed into a new city. Kids could trace the panel's journeys like postcards on legs. Juno Martinez added QR codes to every hinge, so a panel's travel history popped up in augmented reality. Inspector Dolores Kim issued a gentle reminder. International freight means ISO fire ratings. Haven Housing scrambled to source certified plywood. Costs ballooned. CFO Rains flagged the margin bleed. Oliver countered with a sponsorship pitch to global courier firm FastPath Express. Their CMO, charmed by the viral clips, offered discounted cargo space if each kingdom painted a racer stripe arrow shaped like the FastPath logo on one tower wall. Maya balked corporate billboards. Emma proposed hiding the arrow inside a rainbow dragon the kids already wanted. Compromise struck. Cargo booked. Crossing north, the inaugural long haul left Bayview at sunrise, 2 shipping containers stacked with flat-packed walls, a third loaded with cardboard kits, and a passenger van carrying Oliver, Emma, Maya, Juno, and a camera crew filming a mini-doc sponsored by an educational streaming service. The destination, Maple Glen, a mid-sized Canadian city that had just converted an abandoned hockey rink into a winter play hub. At the U.S.-Canada border, the first hiccup hit. Customs officers eyed the manifest corrugated structures. Value $0, declared purpose imagination. They pulled the van aside. One officer tapped the plywood with a knuckle. Agricultural concern, untreated wood could carry beetles. Juno produced certificates. The officer squinted. Another officer inspected the cardboard kits. Aren't these just boxes? Maya hopped down from the van, passport panels in hand. Not boxes, she corrected. Future forts. She explained the Jew cardboard diplomacy rule kits delivered to neighborhoods unlike their own. The officers exchanged amused looks. One admitted his daughter had shared the TikTok. He waved the convoy through with a grin and a fresh inspection sticker shaped like a maple leaf. First foreign stamp secured. Maple Glen's welcome committee local kids in snow pants cheered as the trucks rolled into the rink. They served poutine alongside cocoa and handed out hockey puck name tags. Build days passed in a blur of pneumatic drills and snow flurries. The Canadian kids nicknamed their hybrid fortress Frostbite Fort. A media article dubbed it a firewall against winter gloom. Both Maya's cardboard sash and Emma's tablet gained new stickers: red maple, blue snowflake. Southbound surprise. Barely had the frostbite ribbon been cut when news broke of a migrant family camp springing up near the Tijuana border after a shelter closure. With winter rains threatening, an aid group begged for a card kit drop. Instant play space doubled as classroom. Oliver hesitated. Political optics were volatile. But Maya argued, kingdoms go where kids need them. Sato greenlit a single truck, cautioning Oliver to keep receipts for regulators and investors. The drive south turned into a gauntlet of paperwork at the Otay Mesa crossing. Mexican customs flagged the fire retardant spray as a hazchem import. Hours ticked. Children on the camp perimeter watched through chain link, excitement dimming with the setting sun. Emma tugged her dad's sleeve. Can't we build without the spray and just keep fires away? Oliver wouldn't gamble safety. But another idea surfaced. Swap the spray for sand-filled firebreak trenches common in rural fiestas. The customs supervisor agreed. The convoy rolled forward by headlamp. Maya outlined a castle footprint in chalky desert dust while parents dug trench perimeters. Cardboard walls rose under moonlight, plywood staged for next-day assembly. A teenage refugee who'd once studied carpentry in Honduras became impromptu site lead. He named the fort Castillo de Luz, Castle of Light, after the solar lantern strings donated by FastPath, Numbers versus Narratives, back in Bayview HQ. Rains highlighted fresh red cells, emergency shipping overages, border delay penalties. Feel-good exports are killing margin, he said during the Zoom debrief. But Sato countered with streaming analytics. The mini-doc trailer amassed 2.5 million pre-release views. Brand lift charting upward internationally. Narrative equity, she called it. Ahead of earnings. Rains still wanted a dollar signal. Oliver proposed adventure subscriptions. Families in stable areas would pay a monthly fee to follow a specific panel's travels via AR and receive quarterly mini-kit expansions. 50% of revenue would underwrite unprofitable relief drops. Essentially sponsor a wandering wall. The board voted to beta test with 5,000 subscribers. The missing crown. On the journey home from Mexico, a desert gust caught the open back of the cardboard kit truck. One weather-softened box, the very carton housing the original soggy duct tape crown, flew out, skittering across the highway before tumbling into scrub. Emma noticed first. Convoy stopped. Volunteers searched headlights lit sand, but found nothing. Oliver's heart sank, symbol lost. Maya surprised him by shrugging. Crowns aren't magic. Promises are. She peeled a fresh piece of cardboard, tore a rough crescent, and handed it over. Rebuild. Oliver folded the strip, secured it with travel log stickers, maple leaf, snowflake, sand sun, a new crown, international edition. He placed it on his head, dusted off desert sand, and felt the same flutter of possibility as day one. Audit day again, 3 months after the first audit. Inspector Kim stood at Bayview headquarters event space, a warehouse now retrofitted with rolling castle modules awaiting freight. Auditor charts showed subscription revenue covering 73% of international costs. Investors filed in for third quarter preview. Rains, eyebrows raised, tapped a green cell profitability projection 3 quarters ahead of schedule. Oliver handed Maya the mic. She clicked to the final slide: pictures of Frostbite Fort, Castillo de Luz, and the freeway graffiti fort. Cardboard bends, kingdoms travel, friends follow, she declared. A venture fund partner asked, half joking, when the cardboard rockets would reach the moon. Emma pulled a slide showing a cardboard model on a SpaceX rideshare payload sketch. Laughter and applause mingled with genuine curiosity. Kim stamped final global compliance on the flagship blueprint. Sato shook Oliver's hand. From scrap to stock. You did it, Oliver corrected her, touching the fresh multi-stamp crown. We did it kids first, number second. Epilogue, shimmer. That night, caravan trucks rolled again, this time toward the port. A Seattle-bound container carried panels painted with bilingual lullabies. In an office full of corrugated passports, shipping beacons blinked across a virtual globe. Each representing cardboard arrived, walls unfolded, and small hands painting new histories. Maya and Emma sat in the cloud room, designing sticker sets for Antarctica penguin crowns. Aurora hearts because researchers at McMurdo Station had just requested a microfort for visiting families. Maya tapped a marker against her chin. Cardboard still bends in the cold. Right then, we make it thicker, Emma said, pulling out double-ply prototypes. Below them, Oliver drafted an internal motto to share company-wide imagination is cargo without weight. But it tips every balance sheet. And in the hush of post-launch adrenaline, the kingdom's newest decree appeared on the mural wall anywhere a box can travel. A child's dream can unpack. The gears kept clicking wood, cardboard, data packets, and trust turning borders into bridges and freight into friendship, all on the strength of a trade that began with one flimsy crown on a rainy city curb. The request arrived via satellite email. USAP Logistics will palletize one play structure kit on next McMurdo icebreaker. Station families arrive in 3 weeks. Temps: 35 degrees C. Can your cardboard survive? Oliver Crane forwarded the note to Maya and Emma with the subject line Polar Quest. Maya replied in all caps, yes, while Emma attached a sketch penguins wearing cardboard crowns beneath shimmering auroras. Cold, hard science haven. Housing's plywood wouldn't hold glue below freezing, and untreated corrugate cracked like potato chips in dry cold. Juno Martinez convened an emergency crash lab at Cloudcraft HQ. They layered honeycomb panels with thin aerogel blankets, then wrapped everything in recycled sailcloth dipped in soy wax. A freezer test at 40 degrees solder made the panels stiff as fiberglass, yet light enough for easy assembly. CFO Raines groaned at the unit cost. Chairwoman Sato countered, an Antarctic case study could close our ESG bond. Raines agreed, pending a single kit only, shipped under scientific research classification to dodge tariffs. The Penguin Package. 2 weeks later, the icebreaker USNS Casterly departed New Zealand, carrying fuel drums, dehydrated veggies, and one crate stamped Kingdom Kit Polar Edition inside. Maya had stowed 200 Aurora foil stickers and a cardboard crown updated with a tiny solar cell powering an LED star. Emma watched the ship's progress on a classroom map, adding a cardboard gear each day. When the latitude dropped below 60 degrees south, Oliver invited a group of MIT engineering students to develop a side mission, a 6-foot cardboard rocket coated in the same sailcloth, to be lofted by weather balloon from McMurdo. The payload, a GoPro, and the original international crown soaked, bent, resurrected, headed to the stratosphere. Arrival at McMurdo. The polar kit landed on the sea ice runway. Shrink-wrap frosted white. Station engineer Dr. Lena Voss, who moonlighted as the base school teacher, welcomed the build team via Zoom, dressed in a puff jacket printed with constellations. We have 72 hours of light winds. Let's erect your kingdom before the catabatic monsters return, she said. Oliver couldn't fly South corporate end-of-quarter sign-offs, but he secured travel for Juno, 2 Haven Carpenters, and documentary filmmaker Nick Soto. Station rules required every newcomer to complete survival training. Nick filmed Juno practicing ice axe self-arrest down a snow ramp while Maya giggled over satellite link. Folding walls in -30. The aerogel panels assembled like origami pull tab, lock, flatten. Station kids bundled in bunny boots and neoprene masks helped attach cardboard cloud arches pre-painted by Bayview artists. The cold made vinyl gloves brittle, so Juno borrowed silicone lab ones. Dr. Voss monitored adhesive curing with an infrared gun. When bonding slowed, she generated heat by pointing a diesel space heater through a metal duct into the walls. By the second day, the Aurora Citadel stood on ice screw foundations, shimmering under 24-hour daylight. Maya asked via video if snowdrifts would bury the fort. Dr. Voss replied, "We'll dig it out like an igloo, then call it a secret level." The rocket and the storm launch day for the cardboard rocket dawned windless but bone dry. The MIT team inflated a 60-foot weather balloon beside the Citadel. Maya dubbed the rocket Cloud Hopper. Emma stuck a sticker reading, "Dreams are lighter than air." The GoPro streamed to Bayview. TikTok scheduled a live event 10 minutes before release. Station meteorologist Tomoko Chen spotted a pressure drop, katabatic winds descending off the plateau. They had 20 minutes or scrub. Oliver, in Bayview boardroom reviewing freight metrics, watched the feed flicker. His phone pinged a Rains reminder, earnings call T4HRs. He muted it. Juno, goggles fogging. Argued they could secure the balloon to a snowmobile and drag it to a calmer valley. Dr. Voss shook her head too slow. Maya's voice crackled through comms. Tiny and urgent. Launch now, or the crown never flies. Oliver toggled his mic. Proceed safety first, but don't miss the window. They hustled. Tethers off. Helium tugged. Cloudhopper lifted, wobbling above the Citadel's iridescent towers. 13 meters. 20. A sudden gust sheared snow off roofs, slamming into the balloon. It wobbled but held course, ascending into cobalt sky. Cheers erupted. Emma jumped in Bayview HQ, toppling a stack of shipping reports. The live chat exploded with aurora emojis. Metrics above clouds. The GoPro feed beamed Antarctica shrinking into white fractals, then the curve of Earth, then swirling southern lights. At 115,000 FT, the balloon burst. Deployment chute opened, and Cloudhopper descended toward a designated GPS zone on the ice shelf. Station trackers retrieved it hours later, rocket intact, crown glowing LED star pulsing. Data cards showed 55-degree ambient, 0 adhesive failure. Proof of concept for extreme environment corrugate. Oliver attached the footage to Cloudcraft's earnings presentation cardboard at 35 km. Logistical resilience demo. Analysts gaped. Stock ticked up mid-call. A crown returned. 3 days later, a cargo flight delivered the rocket and crown back to Bayview. Oliver placed the weather-worn tiara in the flagship cloud room beside the original soggy version. Now a museum corner titled Crowns That Traveled. Maya added a plaque, Rain Desert, Polar Sky. Inspector Kim certified Aurora Citadel remotely after reviewing stratospheric thermal logs. Councilwoman Shaw announced city funding for a polar pop-up science festival next summer. Using Oliver's aerogel panels as demonstration labs, CFO Rains. Reviewing updated spreadsheets. Turn the final red cells green. Corrugated economics at scale. He admitted in a message to Oliver. Miracles now have margins. Stargazing vote. That night, Maya convened a Kingdom Assembly streamed across all forts, kids in snow gear, surf shorts, hoodies. Emma held up the rocket's parachute, now stitched into a cape. Motion, Maya declared. Next stop, space real rocket ride share. Laughter and cheers filled the chat. Emma added, and we need forts on every continent. Oliver slipped the weathered crown onto his head. We'll price the stars, but the dream stays free, he said. New decree. Any box that reaches orbit brings a postcard home to every kid who helped. Screen tiles, shimmered Canadian rink kids. Freeway skaters, beach builders, polar explorers, all raising cardboard cups of cocoa to toast the kingdom that refused to shiver, burn, or bend beyond use. Outside. Bayview's night sky glowed faintly with urban haze, yet Oliver imagined the southern lights still dancing over a cardboard citadel on ice. Panels creaking softly, children laughing inside. Distance meant nothing to corrugated dreams. They'd already traveled from mud puddles to the mesosphere. Morning headlines hit Bayview like hailstones. Short seller targets Cloudcraft's fairy tale division, imaginary revenue. Real risk. Splashed across every finance site. An activist hedge fund named Iceberg Research released a 40-page report accusing Imagination Logistics of inflating kit orders, masking shipping subsidies as profit, and distracting investors with cardboard theatrics. Cloudcraft's stock opened down 14%. Oliver Crane scanned the PDF in the flagship castle's strategy keep, while Maya and Emma rehearsed a livestream countdown for the first orbital card kit. His gut iced at each claim, selective screenshots of Slack jokes. Misread shipping invoices. A grainy photo of the plywood freeway fort the night graffiti flared. None told the whole story, yet each stung. Chairwoman Sato summoned an emergency board session for noon, demanding audited numbers and a damage control plan. CFO Rains stomped into the keep. "I warned you about optics," he hissed. "Our space capsule better launch flawlessly, or we're toast. Launch, window shrinking." The orbital kit, a shoebox-size CubeSat packed with folded honeycomb sheets, aerogel slivers, and a 3D printed cardboard crown, sat in a payload bay at the Pacific Spaceport on Kodiak Island, Alaska. The rideshare rocket, operated by startup Nova Venture, had already slipped twice due to fueling sensor issues. Its third and final window before insurance premiums reset was tonight, 21:14 UTC. If they scrubbed again, imagination would eat $2 million in penalties, and Iceberg's imaginary revenue smear would harden into truth. Juno Martinez flew north to supervise integration. She text-streamed telemetry updates to Oliver's phone. Red line on LOX valve resolved. Range predicts 50-knot winds, but dropping. A chance. Meanwhile, a micro-experiment parcel thin strips of waxed cardboard bundled with sensors had arrived at the International Space Station aboard a recent supply flight. European astronaut Dr. Petra Novak planned to unfold the sample in microgravity during the same launch window. Linking ground and orbit events under the hashtag corrugated0G, the auditors Oliver drafted a rebuttal deck independent footfall counts, third-party kit sales receipts, shipping logs cross-verified by FastPath Express. Maya insisted on adding kids' testimonies, 30-second clips of polar, desert, and city forts explaining what cardboard play meant. Rains balked. Investors want gay ape, not feelings. Emma countered, "Feelings are why the numbers exist." At 11:50 a.m., Oliver and Rains entered the 12th floor boardroom. Sato sat flanked by outside counsel and an anxious IR director refreshing the stock chart. Oliver laid out the real ledger, slide after slide, then turned to a final video, Dr. Novak floating inside ISS Destiny module. Cardboard strips tucked under one arm. "In a few hours. I'll unfold the first corrugated micro-G," she told the camera, "if it springs true here. Imagine habitat walls on Mars made from shipping waste." Investor brows rose. Rains's shoulders eased. Still, Sato steepled her fingers. "A successful launch kills half the short thesis. A scrub doubles it." Oliver glanced at the clock. 21:14. UTC equaled 13:14, Bayview 84 minutes away. Rumors spark across social media. Iceberg fanned fresh doubt, hearing Nova Venture fuel leak. Launch likely scrubbed. The stock shivered. Maya, monitoring tags, stormed into the boardroom waving her tablet. "They're lying, kid. Not now," Rains muttered. Oliver stood. "Actually, now." He opened the conference cam to the castle courtyard, where volunteers and kids gathered under bunting of world flag cutouts. "We promised transparency from day one, cardboard walls. Glass accounting, live." He address streamed, "To anyone betting against imagination, watch the sky with us at 13:14. If we fall, we learn. If we fly, we build." Countdown Kodiak's sky bruised violet as wind flags settled. Juno radioed go for prop load. Nova Venture's feed stitched into the castle's outdoor projector. Kids donned LED crowns. Rains hovered near Oliver, ready to phone insurers if the clock aborted. T0200. Dr. Novak appeared from ISS. Cardboard strips velcroed to rack rails. "Station is go," she said. Winking, Maya squeezed Emma's hand. T0010. Iceberg's Twitter blasted. Range violation boat in hazard zone. At Kodiak, mission control paused. Coast Guard cams located a lone crab boat skirting limits. Delay risked oxygen boil-off, downgrading thrust margins. Oliver's pulse drummed. Then the range officer reported boat clear. Count resumed. Liftoff. White flame painted the Alaskan dusk. Castle crowds cheered. On screen, the CubeSat stack streaked skyward. Trailing dream contrails, stockwatch apps pinged, Cloudcraft ticked green. 9 minutes later, the second stage shut down. Orbital insertion confirmed. Station comms ISS ready. Dr. Novak unfolded the first waxed card panel. It sprang perfectly, edges holding shape like origami steel. She launched a tiny paper crown that drifted around her helmet. Kids screamed delight. Board members chuckled despite themselves. Short squeeze surprise analysts flipped from cynical to bullish in real time. A viral Bloomberg clip titled "From Scrap to Space Cardboard Kits Defy Gravity and Short Sellers" drove retail buying. Iceberg scrambled to tweet doubts about monetization. Screens showed them losing millions in a squeeze. Sato closed the board meeting with a rare grin. "Well, Mr. Crane, your theatrics just became capital gains." Raines extended a hand. "Consider me converted cardboard economics." Indeed, a hidden tear in the sky that evening. Telemetry flagged a small leak in the CubeSat's aerogel compartment. Maybe micrometeoroid puncture. Not mission ending. But Juno texted, "We've got 12 HRs of sensor data before depressurization." Oliver sighed. Triumph always carried a crack. Maya, hearing the news, shrugged. "Even castles lose shingles. We still have the crown up there." She sketched a patch concept future satellites laminated with tiny cardboard hearts. Emma proposed printing them with kids' names. Space panel passports. New decree under Aurora Green Northern Lights. Oliver addressed the courtyard celebration. Today, cardboard survived vacuum and short cellar air. New decree: no wall is finished until it dreams beyond itself. Maya hoisted a fresh cardboard plaque. Next stop, lunar landing pad cardboard that shields from stardust. Emma spun the LED crowned star, casting sparkle across newscast lenses. Oliver felt the icy night, the warm cocoa scent, and the weightless possibility. Somewhere overhead, a weathered crown orbited Earth every 90 minutes, proof that even flimsy trades forged under shelter neon could outpace rumor, gravity, and fear. He raised his mug. To bends that never break. Kids, volunteers, board members, everyone lifted cups as if saluting the CubeSat itself, blinking unseen among constellations, but known now to tens of thousands who believed in boxes becoming bridges. The CubeSat's cardboard payload had barely settled into its sun-synchronous orbit when NASA's Artemis Logistics Office sent Oliver Crane an email flagged "Urgent Lunar Gateway will trial passive dust shields on the 2027 mission. Your wax-sealed honeycomb panels may offer mass advantages. Submit a feasibility dossier in 6 weeks. 6 weeks to prove corrugated dreams could survive razor-sharp lunar regolith and 6-hour thermal swings from 170 degrees C to 120 degrees C, while Cloudcraft's terrestrial network strained under holiday shipping, soaring paper prices, and a global pallet shortage." Oliver forwarded the email to Maya and Emma with the header, "Moonshot." Maya replied with a gif of a crown orbiting the moon. Emma added a not-so-playful caveat: "Moon dust, cardboard splinters." Lunar letters and logistics jams at Haven Housing. Juno Martinez poked a heat gun at a test panel coated in molten polyethylene. Under vacuum, it off-gassed, blistering the wax layer. Back to square one. She sourced basalt fiber spray from Iceland's lava fields and arranged overnight freight only to discover the pallets it would arrive on were stuck at port behind crates of luxury sneakers. Global supply had gone sideways. Everyone wanted wood, steel, or cardboard at once. CFO Raines, now self-styled reformed skeptic, flagged procurement risks in bold red. Chairwoman Sato demanded a cost-capped lunar prototype, or the board would shelve the mission until commodity futures cooled. Maya, reading emails on Emma's tablet, frowned. Grown-up numbers make moons feel smaller. Oliver proposed tapping Everrise Materials, a defense contractor client with surplus aerogel graphene sheets. They agreed if Cloudcraft granted exclusive branding on lunar panels. Juno balked. "Kids build these walls. Slapping defense logos on dreams feels wrong." Maya crossed her arms in silent agreement. Sato set a firm decision deadline partner with Everrise and hit NASA's window. Or withdraw. The Crown Committee. Oliver convened a late-night council in the flagship castle's cloud room, an echo of early brainstorms. Only this time with CFO spreadsheets stacked beside cardboard crown prototypes. Maya and Emma attended in pajamas, clutching mugs of peppermint cocoa. Juno laid out the engineering facts. Basalt spray worked but tripled mass. Everrise graphene cut weight 40%, outperformed wax, and survived thermal cycling but came with those logos. Mission lives or dies on sponsorship, she said. Maya held up the original soggy crown, edges fraying. What if we keep Crown's logo free and find another way to pay? Rains half chuckled. Crowns don't print money. Emma scrolled her tablet. What about digital crowns? Sell NFT badges that track each lunar panel file, like panel passports but online. Oliver's eyebrows shot up. Blockchain play had its own controversies, but emissions offsets could balance minting. Sato noted potential hype revenue. Maya bit her lip. But then people buy pieces of the moon without touching them, feel lonely. Silence filled the cotton cloud room. Oliver breathed in cardboard and cocoa air. Compromise no Everrise logo on panels. Instead, they get a tiny sponsor line in the metadata of each NFT passport. Physical walls stay kid clean. Digital collectors fund the mission. Rains ran numbers projected NFT drop at $25 average could cover graphene sheets plus port fees, if they minted 40,000 units. Sato nodded acceptable risk. Maya still frowned. Promise the NFTs include a voucher to send a cardboard kit to a new fort. Oliver agreed instantly. The compromise passed. The Crown Committee adjourned. The mint and the backlash. The lunar crown drop launched 10 days later. Artists painted 40,000 variations of a moonlit cardboard crown, each linked to 1 square foot of graphene-reinforced corrugate destined for lunar orbit. Sales surged $1 million in 12 hours. Trending on crypto Twitter, kits began shipping to under-resourced zip codes, as promised. But backlash followed. Environmental activists decried energy-hungry blockchains. Critics tweeted cardboard carbon wash. Iceberg Research resurfaced with a blog post titled NFT Castles Built on Sand. Stock wobbled. Oliver scheduled a transparent AMA live stream from the Huxley Beach fort. Solar panels and wind turbines humming behind him. He admitted the NFT energy cost, showed receipts for certified renewable offsets, and announced an open API so any org could audit kit deliveries. Maya and Emma, beside him, explained that for every digital crown minted, a physical friend fort sprouted somewhere earthside. The candor mollified many enough that NASA's Artemis office kept the docket slot. Dust tests and deadline sprints. Graphene sheets arrived at Haven's lab with 5 days to spare. Juno layered them over honeycomb. Vacuum-sealed edges with biodegradable polyamide. Maya and Emma recorded a time-lapse titled From Box to Moon Shield. The sheets passed abrasion tests against simulated regolith. A sample panel survived a 1,000-cycle thermal shock. NASA integration, green-lit. One hurdle remained. Everrise insisted on shipping the panels as dual-use tech-triggering export control paperwork that could stall the launch beyond NASA's submission cutoff. Oliver lobbied Congresswoman Shaw to expedite a waiver, citing the panel's educational purpose, with midterms looming. She agreed if Imagination hosted a pop-up fort at her district headquarters within 90 days. Oliver signed. Eclipse Eve. The prototype panels flew from San Francisco to Cape Canaveral aboard a FastPath Express jet. As they landed, the sun fell into partial eclipse, casting crescent shadows across the flagship castle courtyard where kids stood in paper glasses. Maya whispered, "Moon's visiting us first." Emma nodded, handing out eclipse cookies round crackers half-dipped in dark chocolate. At the Cape, technicians installed panels onto a cylindrical cargo module called Silver Finch. Launch date 1 week. Iceberg published a last-minute note predicting payload delays, But a NASA tweet showing kids' crenellated crown stickers on the module went deeper viral than the skeptic thread. First grown-up compromise back in Bayview. Juno discovered the final mass budget overshot by 3 kilograms extra reinforcement screws. NASA demanded a cut. Options: remove one panel or ditch the GoPro included to film shield performance. Maya argued for the camera kids needed eyes up there. Rains saw brand value in footage too. Juno sighed. Mission safety trumped marketing. They convened another Crown committee. Emma, contemplative, proposed a compromise: remove 2 edge panels, reduce kit prints for her own affluent school district to balance equity, and keep the camera. Maya frowned. It meant fewer physical friend forts. After a quiet minute, she nodded. Some dreams wait their turn. Oliver watched the kids decide. First grown-up compromise, he thought, but born of shared reasoning. They briefed NASA. Engineers jettisoned 2 panels and swapped heavier screws for titanium prints from a local university's 3D metal lab. Launch day at Cloud Moon Cape. The day of launch, the Castle network held synchronized moon-up parties. Kids in Arctic, desert, freeway, and polar forts wore cardboard helmets shaped like lunar modules. Live feed filled the castle walls. T0 retro firing. Solid motors roared. Stock ticked green. Stage SEPI, lunar payload safe. Onboard cameras captured cardboard crown logos flickering under cargo bay LEDs. Cheers erupted across 4 continents. Dr. Novak, now station commander, announced a follow-up experiment: fold a micropanel into a 0G origami star, proving the hinge design for future space habitats. Maya and Emma high-fived across video chat. Rains texted Oliver. Call me sentimental, but we're moon dust positive. Afterburn and Ember. 2 nights later, a rogue Reddit thread claimed the panel NFT contract carried an exploit. Panic selling ensued. Cloudcraft's price dipped 6%. Juno's labs confirmed no security issue, but social media rarely waits. Maya worried the angst would drown kit funding. Oliver scheduled a code audit stream featuring independent devs disproving the exploit. Sentiment stabilized. During the stream, Maya admitted the goal wasn't lunar panels or NFTs. It's about seeing how far a box can go before someone decides it's trash. Her words trended more than the exploit rumor. Epilogue under Silver Moon weeks later. NASA released first light footage. Moonlight glinting off graphene-crowned corrugate. Earthrise behind. The world watched cardboard shielding shining like polished armor. Artemis engineers reported dust adhesion 30% lower than aluminum. A steel magnate tweeted grudging respect. An art museum requested the launch panels for a future exhibit titled "Fragile Armor When Play Becomes Protection" at the flagship castle. Maya and Emma unveiled a new decree printed on a reclaimed sailcloth banner: when cardboard touches moon dust, every empty box becomes a telescope. Oliver read it aloud to volunteers, board members, and streaming classrooms. Then he announced the next phase: Starlight Scholarships royalties from the NFT secondary market would fund aerospace summer camps for fort builders worldwide, under a full moon. Kids across forts raised cocoa cups again, steam curling into night like thin trails of rocket exhaust. The lunar panels orbited silently overhead, reflecting sunlight across the dark side of Earth, proving that imagination taped together with fiscal discipline could cross supply chain chaos. Short seller storms, and lunar regolith, and somewhere in a cold cargo bay still attached to the ISS, a cardboard origami star unfolded itself, its creases holding firm against vacuum, waiting for the day a child born into the kingdom would step off a real lander, plant a corrugated flag, and laugh at how weightless a dream can feel when gravity finally lets go.